Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Sarah's Creative Solutions and I'm Sarah. This is the video instructions for the fox. As you can see, it's wall mounted and it's just the head. The template is available to download on my shop on Etsy and the link is in the description for this video. There'll be a few things you're going to need to build this sculpture from scratch. For those of you that are not experienced, you will need some thick slip, and you make slip by rolling out some clay, let it go completely dry, then crush it with a rolling pin into like a dust format or really small particles. Scrape those together, put them into a jar or a container that's watertight, and then add water until it just covers the top of the powder clay, and then let that soak for about 10-15 minutes, and that turns into a nice thick sloppy consistency, and that's what we're after to build this sculpture. As you can see there, this is the template I'm just showing you now in the video, and this is available in PDF format. You can download it and print it off in any size paper that you have in your printer, and then you cut it out, roll out the clay to 5mm or 0.5 centimeters, lay the template that you've cut out on top of the clay and cut round. And this is the video to show you how we assemble this sculpture. So you will need a board, a rolling pin, a sharp needle tool and a sculpting tool, and I'll show you all those parts in the video. So now it's time to roll out the clay to 5mm or 0.5 centimeters, and I just use two bats that are 5mm thick and a rolling pin, but you can use a slab roller. And here's my rolling pin and a sharp tool. So now we're just laying this out on the clay and cutting round. Keep your needle point tool very straight and upright so that the walls of the clay, slabs of clay, are square. So now it's time to imprint using a blunt tool all the red design on the template. Don't press too hard, we're just literally transferring the design onto the clay by imprinting, as you can see here. So it's the eyes, the wall mounting, the nose, anything that's in red. So now we're going to transfer these parts onto a board that we're actually going to build on. So it needs to be big enough to house the sculpture, but small enough so we can move it around if we need to. And here I'm taking out the wall mounting holes. So we need to ensure that the holes that you make are big enough to take the screw heads. So now these are the ears. So I've done front and back for these. So if you just shape the ones for the front, like I'm doing now, and leave those to one side, they'll go firm. And then the same with the back ear. These are hollow ears. So if you shape the back pieces in preparation for when we're going to slip these on later, I've given them roughly the right shape, but I've made it so that we can make these thinner. So just pinch them to make them thinner and then check them against the front ears because they're the correct shape. And then we can slip those and amend them later. This is the forehead, and I've put arrows on there just showing you now how this template works. So I'm going to put these pieces down on the board in the position we're going to be slipping them together. So this is the base plate again, as you can see, and the lower jaw is attached to that in the position it's going to be in. So we're going to score and slip that now. So this is the slip that we would have made earlier, or that you should have made earlier, that rolled out dry clay, crumbled down and added water to. Nice thick creamy consistency. So you score the base plate, add your slip, and then score the bottom of the parts there, the lower jaw, and add the slip to those as well, nice and thick. And that's one, and that's two. Wiggle them about a little bit backwards and forwards, don't press down too hard, just wiggle it until it feels like it's not moving anymore. There we are. Make sure that the two pieces at the front meet perfectly in the middle, because that's where the nose is going to go. That's it. Keep smoothing out, making sure it meets the edge of the base plate, and then get your brush and blend in any of the extra slip and make sure it's joined really well. Now we're going to add the upper side face. This is the bit that's got the eyes on. So if we score and slip those as well, but initially we have to take off that inside edge because this is going to angle in slightly, so it's not going to sit directly on top of the one below. And the same with the lower jaw, take that inside edge off just slightly so then it won't get in the way, and then score and slip the same as we did with the lower pieces. So when I say score, I mean just rough up the edge of the clay, nothing too severe, and then nice thick slip over the top. Now, like I said, we're going to add this at an angle. We have to bend the pieces slightly and then use a piece of dry clay or something that you've got to hand that you can just rest it on while the slip firms up that you've attached it with. And then we're going to do the same with the other side, and this is the nose. So take the inside edge off the nose piece all the way around and do the same with this, score and slip. You might have to wiggle it a bit and adjust it slightly, and you can actually get your hand in at this point and adjust it from the inside as well if you want to. So now we're going to do the same with the forehead. Take the inside edge off, score and slip. Now we have to bend this round as well, so we have to bend this piece round to fit the rest of the template, as you can see, and then make sure you support it with a bit of dry clay again, or anything that you have to hand that's not going to stick to the clay. Plenty of slip, and then use your brush to blend in. Now we're going to do the other side as well, do the same process all over again. Now, once this is finished, You've got to allow the clay to firm up slightly, or the slip should I say. So now we're going to blend in any of the areas on the inside and outside with a more thick clay slip. And at this point you can adjust it slightly as I'm doing now, pushing in the eye socket slightly and all that sort of thing, and make sure it's level on both sides. But there is a period of time where I left this for about half an hour to an hour just to firm up without adding any of this slip or anything. So it's really important that you let that happen, because the more moisture you add to wet slip, the more it will fall apart. So the whole process needs to have a certain amount of time for it to settle, the slip to firm up, before you add more slip to the outside. So here I'm just showing you what it looked like before I took the template off, and I'm turning it round and showing you the inside and how it's supported by that dry clay. And what I've done is I've gone in with my brush and added more thick slip to the inside anywhere where there's joins, just to fill in and blend in so it's really well attached. And then you need to leave it for a while again to firm up before you do anything else. So now this is me preparing the back of the head. It's got 2 darts in it. So what I'm doing here is I'm scoring ready, and then what we're going to do is push this to the back of the head and then only cut those darts out once we've positioned it and we know it fits well. So I've left that bit so that you can adjust this template to fit the back of the head perfectly. Curve it round like so. Showing you there the back of the head, putting it on a small turntable, and there you see I haven't pushed those pieces together properly now until I can get it into place and make sure that it's going to fit. There you go. Keep pushing it in until I think yes, that's good, and then I get my spatula tool and slice down like so. You support the join with a little bit of extra clay like that. You don't have to though, you can just slip it together. I always add a little bit just so it helps blending. Turn it over and then do the same on the inside. Blend that extra bit of clay in. Doesn't have to be mega neat because this is the inside, but it just makes sure that the join is really well sealed. Now when you do this, it does stretch the clay, so even though we've measured it up against the back of the head, it has pulled, stretched slightly where we've joined because we've compressed the clay. But I'll show you how we adjust that slightly in a moment. There you go, and do the same again on the other side. Make sure it's really well sealed. Now this is the bit where the clay will have stretched slightly because we've compressed those joins. So just bring it in with your hands and keep patting it and pushing it back inwards. Those two joins there. You can see now it's really coming together nicely. So it's just a little bit of practice and a little bit of patience to make sure we've got it right. Might even be a little bit that you have to trim just to get a good fit. So this is where we trim a little bit around the edge. You might find you don't need to, just depends how much the clay is stretched when forming it into this shape. So anyway, once you're happy with it and it fits nice, then obviously we've got to score and slip. So, and take the inside edge away. You can use the spatula to lift the upper forehead to slot this in place, and just make sure that you're happy with this head and everything again, like I say. Because you can push the clay from the inside out with the end of your paintbrush or your finger, and just to adjust the shape slightly, and then once you're happy with it, then you can slip it on, because once you've slipped it on you can't adjust the head any further. So once you're happy with the back of the head, take the template off the face and then just double check that the face is in the right position and proportion and the nose is not wonky and everything else. You can still adjust from the end of the nose if you haven't attached the nose on at this point. So obviously we can see that that fits quite nice. So we just take the supports out from the inside and then we can look at slipping this with thick slip. Make sure we add quite a lot of slip for the back of the head, just to fill in any gaps from the inside, because we cannot smooth from the inside once we attach this, so we've got to really make sure that it's attached well using the slip and plenty of scoring. So as you can see, taking the clay supports out from the inside, and obviously the head at this stage is really firm, it's gone leather hard, so there's not much movement in the face now, although it can be adjusted still slightly if you wanted to give it a spray with water and then just push gently from the inside or push in from the outside, depending what you needed to adjust. So I'm going to add the back of the head now because I'm happy with how the head shape is here, and we're going to slip this on. So you can see I'm adding on the really thick slip, and plenty of it, just on that base part there at the bottom, because we're not going to be able to smooth that out from the inside once we apply this piece. So really do lather it on in the area. Put it on the base plate and on the piece you're going to slip. And obviously you saw me scoring really well all over. Make sure there's no bald patches, make sure it's all roughed up. So if you've checked and measured this part properly, then there shouldn't be any issue with lining this up really. You might need to adjust it slightly because, as I say, when you handle the clay, it does lose its shape slightly. So you may just need to adjust it again. But as you can see, it's fitting together quite nice. Just got to push it in, make sure it's firm on the base, on the bottom, and then but obviously be careful not to push the face too much because then you'll distort the position of the cheeks and the eyes and things like that. And then any gaps that are there, fill in with thick slip. There's a little bit there by the eyebrow, look. So I'm just going to fill that in with thick slip. That's quite a good fit. What do you think? Lovely. So now I'm just blending in with my spatula tool, pressing and compressing the joints and making sure everything's even and smooth, and filling in any gaps with the thick slip again, or thick clay. So once you're happy with the position of the head and all the gaps are filled in and everything's nice and smooth, it's then time to look at attaching the ears. So we've got to make sure that the ears are in the right position. As you can see in the background there's a picture of a fox. So I recommend that you do the same. Make sure you've got something that you can refer to so you know where to put the ears or where it looks right. If you position the ears first, you can mark out where you need to score before you attach, so that you can get them in the right place. Make sure you add plenty of thick slip for this because it's got to be self-supportive while you attach the back ear. This is only the front ear, and the back ear is going to be attached, which will make them look more fox-like. So once you're happy with the position of the ears, if you want to make some adjustments to the shape of them, do so. So this is where I'm going to poke some holes into the back of the ear cavity to allow the airflow from the head into the ears. This will ensure that it dries out evenly. So you can see there, I'm adding about 3 or 4, I think I added 6 in the end, all the way along the base of the ear. And then we're going to add on the back ear so that it's actually hollow. Make sure it's nicely slipped and scored. But this is the back ear, so we're going to be carving off some excess because we've pinched this into the shape that we need. And we also make sure we score and slip onto the actual head where the ear is going to be attached. Make sure it's been put at an angle, so we want the gap at the bottom of the ear to be larger than it is at the top, obviously. And there we go, just sort of wrap it around the back. We don't want it to go all the way to the top of the ear because that's going to be the thinnest part. And don't forget, we've pinched this clay, so it's probably quite thin now, probably only a couple of millimeters thick around the edges. And same with the other one. Just check the position, score and slip. And don't forget to put the holes in both sides. And there we go. So now it's just a matter of blending the edge of that back ear into the front ear, and obviously making sure the seal around the edge of the base of the ear is firmly onto the head. So it's just a matter of blending in now, filling in any gaps, using a damp brush, not a wet brush, just a damp one, because we don't want to add too much water to the clay. now it's just left to the final detail. So we're going to add the eyes, the nose, the eyebrows. The eyes on this video, I've used a clay stamp that I've disc fired that gives me perfect half balls, so I use that on all my sculptures now because it works really well. But obviously you could just roll out a couple of balls of clay and use it that way and cut them in half if you wanted to. But so I just score and slip those on, make sure that they're in the right position. I use my photograph of a fox to just check how close the eyes need to be, because you could put these eyeballs a little bit to the left or to the right. So I choose to go in a bit closer. And these are the eyebrows. So these have got little eyelids in them. I have marked them out already. So you've just got to sculpt in a little bit, or you could just leave them as a line. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you how you want the fox to look. And once you're happy with that, you can score and slip it on. So now just mark out, once you're happy with the eyebrow, mark out where it's got to be scored and slipped by using a sharp tool just to draw a line around the outside. There you go, you can see where to score now. So do this on both sides. Now it's time to add the nose. So just check the shape of the nose before you put it on, make sure it's even, and then slip it on. And then once you've done that, you can then carry on sculpting the nose, adding little bits to shape it or whatever, and also to poke the holes through to let the air flow through, but also to add the nostrils. So I'm adding 2 little sausages to add a little bit more definition to the end of the nose, so it's like a little T. So I've got a sausage going across the top of the nose and then a little sausage going down the nose. And now it's just a matter of smoothing out, blending in, making sure it's not lumpy, making sure the shape's nice and even, and then adding your detail. So this is now the ear hair. I've added this as a sculptural detail. You don't have to put this in the ears if you don't want to. You could leave it without, and you could paint in the hair effect with glazes somehow after. But it's just quite easy to do. It's just a triangle of clay and cut out one side, lots of V's, and then use your needle tool or something sharp just to score into the clay to give it a hair effect, and then slip it and score it onto the side of the ears, as you'll see shortly. So there we are. So now I go ahead and I add more hair effect. I add to the corner of each ear, and then I add hair facing up going towards the point of the ear, which you'll see in the sculpture in a moment. And then on the sides of the face I add 2 little triangles of clay just to give the fox a more defined hairline on the edge of his face, and you'll see that. But you can add more clay in these areas if you want to give him more of a mane, I suppose, of hair around the side of his face. There's lots of things that you can do. You might decide that you don't want to do the hair texture like I have, and you might want to paint this on with glazes later. But this is the basic fox face, and this is what you're left with the template that I'm giving you. So this is also now the lower eyelid, and all I do for the lower eyelid is roll out 2 very small sausages of clay, slip, and then add them carefully to the underside of the eye, making sure that one touches the very edge of the eyebrow and then the other touches the other edge of the eyebrow, and that gives you the waterline. I use an orange wood stick or a wooden tool just to pat the waterline into place at those corners there, and I'm careful not to damage the eyeball that I've already slipped on, so it stays that nice perfect round sphere. And then later on you'll see I'll go ahead and I've got a orange wood stick that's got one flat end, so it's very fine. It enables me to use that to pinch the edge of the clay down onto the face, which makes the lower lid waterline thinner, so it looks more realistic instead of as thick as it is at the moment, and you'll see that in a bit. So this is where I'm pinching that sausage of clay and smoothing it onto the face, and as you can see it makes it look a lot better. So now I'm adding the detail, and this is how I do it. I use my needle tool and score in the direction of the hair growth would be. And there you go, there you can see the finished result. I'm lifting it up now and I'm going to show you where it's all mounted on the back. There we are. You can see there's no cracks or anything appearing, everything looks good. It's almost drying out here. It's very leather hard. You see the hair I added by the corner of the ears just there? It's only a little bit, but it does make a difference. And then I added a little bit just on the cheeks, going into a point, and then just obviously lots of detail. And that's the finished fox. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. If you would like to show your appreciation for this free video and tutorial, please like and comment. But even better would be if you click the subscribe button located under this video. This enables me to keep giving this information for free. So please don't forget to like and comment, and thank you very much for watching. Take care now.